March 2012. Toyota has just launched the GT86, co-developed with Subaru, rear-wheel drive, naturally aspirated, lightweight, and everything enthusiasts had been begging for from a Japanese sports car in over a decade. The reviews are glowing, the passion is real, and then the sales numbers come in. They are not good. And behind closed doors, at Toyota's product planning offices in Japan, a conversation begins. A conversation that, if it had gone differently, would have ended the car permanently. No second generation, no GR86, no continuation of what had become one of the last affordable, driver-focused sports cars on the planet. Just a quiet discontinuation notice, and another sports car on the long list of things the automotive industry decided wasn't worth keeping. This is the story of how Toyota almost killed the GR86 before it ever existed, and how one department, one executive, and one very stubborn engineering philosophy pulled it back from the edge. But to understand how close it came to dying, you have to understand why it was born in the first place. By the mid-2000s, Toyota was the largest automaker in the world, profitable, dominant, and almost aggressively practical. The company had essentially walked away from performance. The Supra was gone. The MR2 was gone. The Celica was gone. One by one, the cars that had defined Toyota's identity among enthusiasts had been quietly discontinued, each of them a casualty of the same internal logic. The numbers don't justify the cost. Move on. What replaced them was a lineup that was excellent at almost everything and exciting at almost nothing. Inside Toyota, there were engineers who hated this. Not quietly either. Tetsuya Tada, the man who would eventually become the chief engineer of what started as the FT86 concept, had been watching the slow disappearance of driver-focused Toyotas with the kind of frustration that tends to build into obsession. He believed deeply and stubbornly that Toyota needed a small, lightweight, rear-wheel drive sports car. Not a supercar, not a halo vehicle. A car that a young person could actually afford, could actually drive at its limits on a public road, and could actually feel something behind the wheel of. He called the concept a car that puts the driver at the center. Getting Toyota to agree to build it was another matter entirely. The internal battle to green-light the GT86 took years. Tada and his team had to convince a company that had systematically deprioritized emotion in its vehicles that emotion was worth the investment. The argument they made was not purely about passion. It was strategic. Young buyers were not connecting with Toyota. The brand was aging. A driver's car, even a modestly profitable one, could rebuild the relationship between Toyota and the people who would eventually become lifetime customers. The partnership with Subaru was a practical solution to a budget problem. Sharing development costs made the program financially viable in a way that a solo Toyota project may not have been. Subaru brought the Boxer engine and parts of the platform. Toyota brought the chassis tuning, the styling direction, and Tada's relentless obsession with driving feel. The result launched in 2012 as the Toyota GT86 in most markets and the Scion FRS in North America. And people loved it. Enthusiasts loved it. The automotive press loved it. It was called a return to form, a reminder of what affordable sports cars were supposed to be. But love and sales figures are different things. The GT86 was priced modestly. It was accessible, and it still didn't sell in the numbers that a company the size of Toyota needed to justify the program long-term. In North America particularly, the Scion FRS moved far fewer units than its internal projections had hoped. Scion itself was already a brand in structural trouble. The dealer network was frustrated. The broader market was telling Toyota the same thing it had told every sports car manufacturer in the previous decade. People say they want a driver's car, then they buy a crossover. In 2016, Scion as a brand was discontinued entirely. The FRS was rebranded as the Toyota 86 and carried forward. But inside the company, the questions were already circulating. Do we do a second generation? Do we invest the development budget? Or do we acknowledge what the market is clearly telling us and move on? This is where it almost ended. The argument for discontinuation was straightforward and not wrong on its own terms. The 86 was not a volume seller. The segment was shrinking. Development of a successor would require significant investment in a new platform or a substantially upgraded version of the existing one. The crossover market was exploding. Resources were finite. The business case for killing the car was real, and Tada knew it. He also knew something else. If the 86 died here, it died permanently. Toyota was not going to come back to this concept a third time. There would be no nostalgia revival a decade later. This was the last exit. What followed, by most accounts, was one of the most sustained internal advocacy campaigns in Toyota's recent product history. Tada and his team did not just argue for the car on emotional grounds. They built a business case. They documented what the 86 had done for Toyota's brand perception among younger buyers. They mapped the enthusiast community. They pointed to the aftermarket ecosystem the car had generated, the events, the clubs, the grassroots motorsport participation, the social media footprint that no amount of advertising spending had manufactured, that had simply grown organically because people actually cared about the car. They argued that killing the 86 would cost Toyota something money couldn't buy back easily. The reputation of being a company that made something worth caring about. And then they proposed a second generation that addressed the one criticism that had followed the GT86 since launch: the power. From day one, the GT86 had been criticized for being underpowered. 200 horsepower from a naturally aspirated 2.0-liter boxer engine was enough to be engaging at the limit, but not enough to be fast by any objective measure. The criticism was sometimes unfair. Tada had deliberately tuned the car to be rewarding at legal speeds, not just at triple-digit velocities. But the criticism was loud, persistent, and commercially damaging. A car that journalists called slow, even affectionately, was a harder sell than a car that needed no qualification. The second-generation pitch came with a solution: a new 2.4-liter, naturally aspirated boxer engine, still developed with Subaru, producing 228 horsepower. Not a turbocharged engine, not a hybrid system, just more displacement, more power, the same philosophy, executed with more confidence. It was enough. Toyota approved the program. The GR86 launched in 2021 as a 2022 model year vehicle. The GR stood for Gazoo Racing, Toyota's motorsport and performance division, which had taken over stewardship of the car and, more broadly, of Toyota's entire performance identity. Under Gazoo Racing's umbrella sat the GR Yaris, the GR Corolla, and eventually the GR86. The naming wasn't cosmetic. It signaled that Toyota was formally committing to a performance identity in a way it had not done since the 1990s. The GR86 was received as the GT86 had been, except better. The power criticism was addressed. The chassis refinements were real. The car weighed almost the same as the original. The balance was, if anything, sharper. Reviewers who had loved the GT86 with reservations loved the GR86 without them. Tada was still the chief engineer. He had not changed his philosophy. He had refined it. But the near death of this car matters beyond the product itself. Because what happened between 2016 and the green light for the GR86 was a test of whether a company that had grown large and practical and cautious could still choose to build something because it was worth building, not just because the spreadsheet said it was safe. The argument that saved the GR86 was not that it would outsell the RAV4. It was that it represented something the RAV4 could never represent. That there is a version of Toyota that makes people feel something. And losing that version entirely, even for the sake of rational resource allocation, would cost the company more than any product line accounting could measure. That argument won. Barely, by most indications. But it won. Toyota is currently developing what is expected to be a third generation of the GR86. Details are still limited. What is known is that Gazoo Racing's influence within Toyota has grown substantially, and the conversation about discontinuing the platform is no longer the dominant one. The car that almost didn't get a second chance is now building a future. But every few years the question comes back, is this still worth it? And every time it does, the answer requires someone in a room somewhere to make the same argument Tada made in the mid-2000s, that some things matter beyond the margin. The GR86 is not the fastest car Toyota makes. It is not the most profitable. It is not the most practical. It is the one people are still talking about. And that, in the end, is what saved it. If you made it this far, I appreciate you being here. These videos take a lot of time to research and put together, and every like, comment, and subscription genuinely helps keep them going. So if you want more stories like this, consider supporting the channel. And to everyone already here, whether you've been watching for a while or just found this, thank you. You are the reason these stories get told. Stay curious, and I'll see you in the next one.